Hi, I'm Laura Ramus, physical therapist and certified athletic trainer with the DMC Sports Performance Academy here at the Rehabilitation Institute of Michigan, getting ready to show you a three-dimensional stretch that you should do before you go on a training run or before you run a race. Now this can be done anywhere. You can use a bumper of a car, you can use a chair in the house, a bleacher over by the track and field area. So we're going to start out by warming up the quadriceps muscle. You're going to place your foot up on an object with your toe back like this, and your knees together. In this position, then you're going to squeeze your butt muscle right back here, and once you squeeze that butt muscle, it's going to give some tension on the front of this thigh muscle. Once you've got that tension, then you're going to drop into this squat. So it should be a medium to a medium-large tension in the front of the thigh. From here, all of our stretches are going to be driven through our pelvis with three different motions. We're going to start out by doing what we call an anterior and a posterior pelvic tilt. We're just driving the motion through our pelvis. You'll notice that I'm not moving through my chest, I'm not moving through my knees, it's just through your hips, your pelvis. When I go into this anterior tilt, you'll feel a bigger stretch on the front of this thigh muscle. That's the muscle we want to work. So you're going to go in and out of this tilt 10 times. Once you finish 10 of those, then you're going to keep that tension on that anterior tilt, and we're going to do what we call a hip check, or you're going to go side to side with your hips. This is, again, three-dimensionally warming up this quadricep muscle. You'll do that side-to-side motion 10 times. And then you'll finish it with a rotation. The whole time you're keeping in that tilt, you're keeping the tension on this muscle, and now we're going to rotate our hips right to left. And again, it's just through the pelvis, not through the knees and not through the upper body. Do that on the right leg, do it on the left leg. The second stretch is going to warm up our hip flexors, real important in running. So we're going to start by putting your leg with your knee facing straight forward and your other foot up on top of that bumper, that car, that chair, that porch. In this position, you should start to feel a stretch in the front of the hip right here. Again, tighten up your butt muscle and drive forward till you feel that stretch. We're going to go in and out of that stretch, not arching through the back, but going right through the front of the hip by tightening your butt muscle. Do this 10 times. On the 10th one, hold that tension, and then we're going to do that same hip check, side to side that we did in the first one. 10 times right to left. This is considered one rep. Run, right there. And then we're going to drive it through the rotation. Again, holding the pelvis, we're going to rotate right to left. And again, you notice it's a rotation emphasis through the hips. I'm not rotating through up here, and I'm not allowing this knee to weeble wobble. Keep it in line with your foot. Do that same stretch on the other side. Now we'll go into our hamstring stretch. With your hamstring stretch, again, focus on the down leg being facing straight forward. We're going to put your other leg completely straight with your knee in this position. The opposite's going to be true of the quadriceps. Now when we do this tilt, the posterior pelvic tilt is going to increase tension in the back of this hamstring. So we're going to go into this tilt back like this, and then come out of it and relax. Tilt into it, relax out of it. I want you to do that 10 times also. On the 10th one, hold the tension. We're going to go side to side with our hip check. Right to left, keeping that tension on that hamstring. And then the final one is the rotation. Keep the tension. We're going to rotate our pelvis right to left 10 times. Again, driven through the hips. The hamstring has a little different thrown into it, a movement pattern. We're going to move the foot in and out also. So we're going to go in, out 10 times. The next stretch, we're going to warm up the inner thigh, the groin. So on that same platform, this time my one foot's going to be facing straight forward. The opposite foot's going to be at a 90-degree angle. So I'm going to make sure that this knee is right over my left foot. We're going to warm up actually both sides of the inner thigh on this stretch. So in this position, I try to keep my body parallel, looking forward, and I'm going to go forward into that stretch. Go gently, because you're going to feel a stretch right through the inner thigh. As I go into that stretch, I'm going to make sure that this knee goes straight over my foot. A common error is for it to want to come in here. Keep yourself tall and go right into the stretch. On the 10th one, hold that position, and then we're going to do our anterior and posterior pelvic tilt 10 times. And again, driven through the hips, driven through the pelvis. And then we're going to try to rotate. Now this rotation, you're going to really be stiff as you try to rotate through, and the cheat is going to be wanting this knee to come in. Try to keep that knee straight. Try to loosen up this pelvis, loosen up the hip. 10 rotations, and then repeat the same thing on your other leg. Now we're going to move over to the other side, and we're going to warm up the hip muscle. Piriformis, the glute muscles, real common tightening area in runners. So we're going to do this one by putting your foot up on the box like this and crossing it. Now if you feel a stretch, that's where we're going to work from. If you don't, we'll have you go into a little lower position by squatting down a little bit lower like this till I feel a comfortable stretch in my glute right across the back of the thigh here. I'm going to do those same 3 drivers. I'm going to start out driving my pelvis forward and backward 10 times. Then I'm going to keep that tension on that stretch, and I'm going to drive my pelvis side to side 10 times. Again, through the pelvis. And then I'm going to drive the pelvis in a rotation 10 times. Once I'm done with that, I'll do the other leg. The final stretch for your dynamic 3D stretch before a run is for the calf muscle, the all-important gastroc soleus back here. We're going to go over to a wall that you can do this stretch on. Place your foot that's going to be stretched. Make sure your knee is facing straight forward, that it's not toed out. That's a common error, is for the foot to be toed out like this. Make sure the foot is straight. The other foot is placed forward in a comfortable stride position. We want to make sure that the knee is right over top of the ankle, and that as you go into that stride, you're still able to keep your heel down on that stretched leg, and my knee is going to be in a straight position to start out with. Once I'm here, the 3D component is to replicate supination and pronation, and we do that by driving the motion through this opposite leg. So when I'm driving my leg to the left leg to the left, that creates a moment down in my foot that creates pronation. You'll see my foot go inward or pronate. Here's the action. That's important in warming up that calf for pronation. Now the other motion that the foot does is supination. It goes out to the side. So to drive that, we'll take the leg and we'll drive the knee up and across the body, and that creates supination as the foot is rolling outward. Now we'll do both of those with the knee in the straight position, doing about 20 repetitions of each kick, across for pronation and across for supination. And then we'll do those same 2 stretches with the knee in a slightly bent position. So I'm going to get a little bit deeper stretch down here in this soleus area by bending the knee. I still want to focus on keeping my heel down. So we get in this position and create that same pronation. Again, 10 to 20 reps, and then supination with that knee in that bent position slightly. 10 to 20 reps. So these 6 stretches will prepare your muscles, not just in length, but 3-dimensionally, the way they work when you run. So next time you're going for a run, use a 3D DMC warm-up program.